So Donald Trump is melting down today as effectively it appears he's losing his best buddy, no, not Musk, Vladimir Putin. Did they have some sort of falling out? This is the headlines come from the Wall Street Journal. Trump raises pressure on Russia, okay, with tariff threat, Ukraine weapons deal. President says Kyiv will have new weapons and air defenses within days under the agreement. Okay, so my initial reaction to this is, does Putin have some sort of dirt on Trump regarding Epstein? That is my first reaction to this stuff, okay? My second reaction is, okay, so is USA trying to sell yet more weapons to Europe? And then we're going to do it under the cover that he cares about people, right? So, because Trump only cares about himself. So that's my first two reactions to this stuff. Have a listen to what Trump had to say regarding this announcement.
Very unhappy with him, and we're going to be doing very severe tariffs if we don't have a deal in 50 days. Tariffs at about 100%. You'd call them secondary tariffs. You know what that means. But today we're going to talk about something else. And as you know, we've spent $350 billion approximately on this war with Russia and Ukraine, and would like to see it end. It wasn't my war, it was Biden's war. It's not my war, I'm trying to get you out of it. And we want to see it end. And I'm disappointed in President Putin because I thought we would have had a deal 2 months ago, but it doesn't seem to get there. So based on that, we're going to be doing secondary tariffs if we don't have a deal in 50 days. It's very simple. And they'll be at 100%. And that's the way it is. That can be more simple. That's just the way it is.
It couldn't be more simple. That's just the way it is. That's how Trump talks. He just wants something really, really simple. Okay, my next reaction is 50 days is what we're promising now. I think that has about the same chance as 90 deals in 90 days. So, good luck with that. And remember, before Trump was promising you that he'll end the war in 1 day. Trump says a bunch of stuff all the time. Much of it is a bunch of nonsense. But here's the thing with Trump. You have to remember, he's in it for himself. That's number one. Number two, he wants to make a TV show. So what better way to make a TV show than say, hey guys, you got 50 days, right? And the headlines will be, oh, will he make the deadline 50 days, right? And then after that 50 days runs up, then he'll be like, okay, I got to come up with a new plan to keep people watching. Okay, in 100 days, I'm going to, that's what it's always going to be. Let's read some details of this stuff together because it does have real world ramifications. So, for example, it says, President Trump threatened Monday to increase economic pressure on Moscow if there is no peace deal within Ukraine in 50 days, underscoring his growing anger with Russia President Vladimir Putin as he outlined a deal to send weapons to Ukraine, okay? U.S. will impose, quote, very severe tariffs if we don't have a deal in 50 days. Now, the USA doesn't really trade with Russia, but we do trade with other countries who do trade with Russia. So I think we may have like a cold trade war situation kind of set up to where like, hey, China, if you buy oil from Russia, we'll put more tariffs on Chinese goods, or India if you buy more oil from Russia, kind of stuff. Now, theoretically, you could do it on Europe as well. So we're going to see. This is actually an interesting one. And to be fair, I always thought it was bizarre for us to do business with countries that are buying oil from Russia, because if everyone stopped buying, say, oil or other energy from Russia, that would certainly hurt Russia. However, you could also argue that this is part of Trump's plan to sell more U.S. oil and energy goods, be it natural gas or whatever, to other countries. So don't think this is necessarily all altruistic by Trump. He's figuring out ways to benefit himself and his buddies. Lutnick is what he says here. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick said Trump could choose to impose either tariffs or sanctions on countries that do business with Russia. Those are both tools in his toolbox. All right, we'll see. It is unclear if Putin will take Trump's threat seriously. Probably not. But like I said, my first reaction is, does Putin have some sort of, dirt on Trump? Is it something to do with Epstein? We'll see. Trump has repeatedly promised action against Russia within 2 weeks. It's always 2 weeks, right? If he deemed Putin unserious about signing a peace agreement, there is also the possibility that Trump could postpone penalizing countries that trade with Russia, such as India and China, when the 50-day deadline is reached on September 2nd. This is pretty interesting. This is coming from the Wall Street Journal, and they're even sort of expecting the taco Trump and stuff like that. See, the problem is that when you spout nonsense nonstop, people start to can't keep track of the nonsense, and then your words become meaningless. But it does matter. I mean, he still is in a position of power. You guys know this. And this is what's sad about, living in the USA reality TV show, is that it's, all run by a Twitter toddler guy. Okay, what else have we got here? The threats came as Trump said the U.S. reached a deal with the NATO, so North Atlantic Treaty Organization, that would send weapons and air defense to Ukraine within days. So I think, again, this is all about selling American weapons. Decision to sell American, oh, that's the next part. The decision to sell American weapons to NATO countries for use in Ukraine is a major policy shift for the U.S., which during the Biden administration donated arms to Kyiv. Okay, I got it. Here's a quote. We've made a deal today where we're going to be sending them weapons and they're going to be paying for them. Okay, so that's talking to the NATO Secretary General, Mark Rutte. We're not buying it, but we will manufacture it and they're going to be paying for it. All right, so that's what it is about selling weapons. Rutte explained those weapons will be sent to Ukraine. He said Ukraine would receive missiles and ammunition, which are sorely needed to help defend the country from Russia's attacks. The weapons package for Ukraine could be worth about $10 billion. So again, we're talking about real money here. Two people familiar with the matter. While Trump reiterated that he inherited the Russia-Ukraine war, right? And Trump's going to blame Biden this, Biden that, Biden for everything. And when in doubt, blame Obama or Clinton. I'm sure he'll do that. Trump says he increasingly taken steps to own it by openly pressuring Putin and supporting Ukraine in the hopes of reaching a peace deal. All right. Trump in recent days noted that he is unhappy with Putin, who has launched large-scale bombing and drone attacks on Ukraine's cities and infrastructure. Monday's announcement is the first time that Trump, after nearly 6 months in office, has taken direct action to counter Putin's aggression. Yeah, and that was just yesterday. He was talking about how Putin would say nice things to him on the phone and then bomb people at night, and it was. Like I said, it was interesting because Trump also seemed to be talking about himself in a way when we were bombing Iran. And actually, that's my first reaction again. Does Putin have some sort of dirt on Trump regarding Epstein stuff? Here's a quote here. Quote, I speak to him a lot about getting this thing done. And I always hang up and say, well, that was a nice phone call. And then missiles are launched into Kyiv or something or some other city. Okay, and this is Trump talking about Putin. And after that happens 3 or 4 times, you say, the talk doesn't mean anything. The heck is this? Ultimately, talk doesn't talk. It's got to be action. It's got to be results. I mean, how do you make of this? Is Trump so naive that he actually believes everything that Putin says? I mean, maybe. The thing with Putin's no dummy. You guys know this. Putin knows how to manipulate Trump. And basically, how do you do that? You compliment Trump. You promise Trump and his family that they can build hotels. You tell Trump that your hair looks nice, something like that. And the Trump's like, oh, wow, he told me my hair looks nice. I believe anything that he says, right? So, Putin plays Trump like a fiddle. It's been like that for a long time. You guys know this stuff. But like I said, there's some sort of falling out with these guys because he doesn't really say this stuff in public. We've been following Trump for a long time. So many times Trump is kind of sided with Putin, talked about him being best buddies or with Kim Jong-un, right? Or President Xi. He always talked about being buddies with everybody. What else is going on here? In Congress, a bill proposed by Senator Lindsey Graham, that's in the Republican side, a staunch ally of president would impose 500% tariffs on nations that trade with Russia if he passed by Congress and signed by Trump. Interesting. Okay. The shipment of weapons going to Ukraine in coming days includes Patriot missiles from the European countries. Trump said the U.S. will then replenish supplies for countries who donate. Trump said that Patriot batteries would arrive in Ukraine within a matter of days. Wow. Here's some more quotes here. This is from the Washington Post. Quote, there's a very big deal we've made. This is billions of dollars worth of military equipment. It's going to be purchased from the United States, going to NATO, etc. And that's going to be quickly distributed to the battlefield. That's from Trump. And then you also have this, which I thought was kind of interesting. This is more quotes that Trump said. After what happens 3 or 4 times, you say the talk doesn't mean anything. I don't want to call him an assassin. Okay, this is on Putin, I guess. But he's a tough guy. It's been proven over the years he fooled a lot of people, Clinton, Bush, Obama, Biden. He didn't fool me. And at a certain point, talk doesn't talk. It's got to be action. What is this guy talking about? And honestly, I want to be honest with you. Yes, the war with Russia and Ukraine is really serious. So I'm not laughing about the war. I'm laughing at Trump because, I mean, the guy is a total clown, and it's sad to see the things play out the way that they do. This is where, for any of these kind of situations, you want people who are competent, people who are professional, and people who build the team who are competent and professional. What we have right now with Trump is just, it's a total clown show. They're just interested in making the TV show drama and putting money in their own pockets to be self-serving. So that's my thoughts on this thing. I want to hear yours, and catch you on the next video.